Come along with me. I want to share not only stories and nuggets of how I met my guest or who my guests are. I want to also, you know, hello, STEM to Roots. This is your host, Mike Demba. This is where we plan on talking our way into a plan. Well, my people, today's episode is slightly different. Today, here in the US, is Thanksgiving. So, I'm taking this opportunity to show my gratitude, to show how grateful I am, how thankful, how much I appreciate every single one of you. I am so grateful for so many things. I have to dedicate an entire episode to show gratitude, to be thankful, to show you guys how much I appreciate you. I look at Thanksgiving like this, right? Even though there should be no season to say thank you, even though there should be no specific period to express how thankful, how grateful you are, it's just an opportunity. It's just a time where collectively we all express to each other how grateful we are, how much we appreciate each other, and this is no exception. So here's where I'm going to start. To every single one of you who have listened to me since that day of April 3rd, when I dropped that first episode of STR0000, and if you've not listened to that very first introduction where I talked about what STEM to Roots is about, the day that STEM to Roots was born, if you've not listened to that yet, I will appreciate it if you go back and listen to it. It's just 8 minutes, just so that you'll have an understanding of where the journey began and where we're trying to go. Since that day, it's like 7 months ago. I cannot believe I have 1,791 human beings that have decided that they will subscribe so that they will get notified every time I drop an episode, every time I have something to say. When I started this, even though I'm a big dreamer, I didn't see that within 7 months that more than 1,000 human beings will be interested in listening to what I have to say, what my guests have to say. And that's why I'm so grateful for every single one of you all. Here, this is how I look at, this is how my mind is wired when I look at that number grow. I look at every single one of you like you're sitting in an auditorium and I'm talking to you. Any number more than 4 people is a lot for me. So at this very point, even if I don't have more people listening, I will keep doing this. Thank you all for being a part of this, and I owe every single one of you, a debt of gratitude for subscribing, and please continue to subscribe and support. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, come along with me. I want to share not only stories and nuggets of how I met my guest or who my guests are. I want to also, come along with me on this ride whilst I thank every single person that sat across from me, virtually, that sat across from me to share their experience, to share their story, all from me asking. I'm going to start with STR001 with Babs. For Babs, he had no choice. All right. I've known this guy for a quarter of a century. Babs was my roommate for a long time. We were in the struggle together. We left Dakar 2004, same time, got to Boston on a cold evening and, shared space, and we've been in the hustle since. I've not lived with any other adult as long as I did with that guy. So when I had him as episode 001, nothing special about him. It was all because it had to be experimental. So I had to find somebody, that I can bounce off of. So he knows. But that said, I don't thank that guy enough. right? Like when you have a brother, when you have somebody that close, sometimes we are wired to take them for granted. We don't say thank you because we feel like everything they do for us is something that they need to do. So I've had this feeling for a long time. I can't remember when last I said thank you to that guy. And even, whatever I'm just saying right now, even this is not even a thank you. But I appreciate him. He knows that, right? That was STR001. STR002, I had Kadi from Burkina Faso say yes to coming to this platform and share her story. Kadi is somebody that I've known again for a long time. All right, since the early 2000s, right? This is 2001, 2002 that I met Kadi. And here in the US, after we moved here in the US from Africa, Kadi was somebody who was so warm to me. Actually, on a day like today, Thanksgiving, Kadi and we had a tradition where, she had a tradition where she invited me over for Thanksgiving for so many years whilst we lived in Boston. So on a day like this, I sat across from Kadi to share a meal, and she's somebody that as soon as StemtoRoots was born, I knew I had to speak to her. I knew I had to have her. All right, because not only does Kadi carry her Africanness everywhere with pride, right? There's always something on Kadi or about Kadi that will tell you where she's from. If you have the privilege to visit Kadi, all her art at home on her walls, there's Africanness to it because of how proud she is. And in her story, and if you've not listened to episode 002, I would encourage that you listen to it because she dropped nuggets about her experience as a woman. And this woman is at a very, very high level working for one of the most important roles in any company, any organization. She's an HR whiz, if I can call her that. So it was very, very important to have Kadi, and I'm so grateful for my sister. I was so glad that she said yes, even though I knew she was going to say yes. Episode 003, this was with Sandro from Ghana. But if I call Sandro from Ghana, I'll be limiting this guy. This guy is, yes, from Ghana because his dad is from Ghana and we know what that means. Sandro was not even born in Ghana, all right? But Sandro has navigated the entire West Africa from Ghana to Gambia to Cape Verde, where the wife is from, to Senegal, obviously, because that's where we met. Going to the US and Canada and France, he has a wealth of experience. Matter of fact, he's based in Cali right now, where he's in the film distribution business. He was so kind with his time and information. He was telling me things that I had no idea about, especially in the film industry and distribution. If you've not listened to Sandro yet, go and listen. Thank you very much, brother. I knew you were going to say yes to me, and I can't wait to have you again. STR004 was with Anna. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna, that episode, you guys have to listen to Anna if you've not listened to Anna yet. The reason why I brought Anna on, and she knew she was going to be one of the first people that I will speak to, is because our conversation in that episode was not new to me. It was new to a lot of people, but not new to me, because Anna and I had that conversation so many times. Anna has lived here for more than 2 decades, but every single minute of that 2 decades, Anna has this big dream and big plans to go home. She was so kind to share all the things that have held her back, all the things that have actually slowed down that process of being able to connect back and be based in Africa, use Africa as her primary home and the rest of the world as just places that she can go. Anna has this dream, has this plan, but she did share with all of us why that has not come true yet, right? So if you've missed that episode, listen to Anna. And anybody that knows Anna she doesn't hold back. Episode 005, I invited my brother Khabib from Benin. Khabib somebody that I met in the early 2000s in Boston. The reason why I wanted to have Khabib here is this is somebody so proud of his Africanness, but not only that, he is glue, right? Like he's somebody that my memories of him was that as soon as he sees you and you have the outlook of an African, he wants to embrace you as somebody he can talk to. In this episode, what Khabib surprised me with was his experience in how much we have as Africans here in the US, Africans out of the continent, how much we should diversify and how much we should connect with other people. I was not surprised by that part because he has always been that person that just wants to connect and network and mingle. And so when he mentioned how he has observed that we keep to ourselves and that should change, I thought that was an important message that everybody should hear. If you've missed Khabib, go and listen to STR005. Bro, I appreciate you. Right after Khabib, I had Ann from Kenya. Ann was the very, very first guest that I've had here that I had no idea who she was. I didn't know her, recommended by somebody who was already here and said, you have to speak to a sister of mine, Ann. So at Hello, right here on episode 006, was all of us met Ann at the same time. You, the listeners, and I met Ann at the same time. She had this broad smile. She was warm. She was just such a joy to talk to. And if you guys have listened to her already, and if you've missed her, you have to listen to Ann because she was forthcoming. She was straightforward. She was honest. Ann is famous for being the one that came right here on STEM to Roots, an African, proud to be Kenyan, but she was so honest with us. She told us that right here in the US is where I want to be. For the convenience, for all those benefits that I get from here, I'd rather be here. I'll go home, I'll visit, but long term, this is where I want to be. I thought that honesty was bold, and she had all her points to back that up. If you've missed Ann's episode, I need you to go listen to 006. Kajolo 007. This brother, episode 7 is Kajolo from Cote d'Ivoire, who came on because he was somebody that I wanted to talk to, because over the years since I met him in the early 2000s, I kept in touch with him on LinkedIn. I followed this guy. What Kajolo does is so important because he's in the real estate business. He's a broker. He owns his own business. He is somebody who is in that wealth creation business. So, helping people with the American dream. If you live here in the US, the importance of Kajolo is where you as an African or whoever is listening to this should know that you should not limit yourself just because, the US is not your primary country or you were not born here. If you were an immigrant now who lives here as your new home, you should be part of. It should be part of you to know that you can create wealth here. His message is so important. He was so kind to put himself out there and say, "Come to me if you think I can help you." I think it's very, very important that you listen to Kajolo's message. Even if you're not ready to buy a home, even if you're not thinking about all of these important things about wealth creation yet, it's just important that you know this information. So thank you, brother, for everything that you shared that day. And the episode is right there for everybody to listen to and share. Episode 008, I had my sister Lou come join me because Lou was somebody I always wanted to talk to when this whole thing started. Not only is she smart, but she's cool, calm, collected. I thought she has so much to share that I had to have her here. If you've not listened to Lou is somebody that who is in the nursing. She's still a nurse, but just her professionalism. She was able to change her career advanced her career. I don't even know if it's advancement or just a change that she found more useful for herself. I thought there was so much there in just the ability to be flexible, no matter what you do, to be flexible and be able to tap into those things that you want to do. But not only that, she's well traveled. Lou goes to Africa all the time. Lou is global. I thought it was important that we hear from her. If you've not listened to 008, listen to Lou. I bet you won't be disappointed. Thank you, sis. Thank you for coming, and thanks for saying yes. Episode 009. My brother Pere Ogidi Oke. I call him Ogidi boy. Pere from Nigeria. Pere is somebody that ever since I met this guy, we were way younger then. This was like 2001. Very bright, very smart, well-spoken, great attitude. Somebody that with the books, this guy was next level. I'm not surprised at all where Pere has gotten to as a finance and accounting whiz. He's in the banking business. What surprised me was how long ago that Pere was set to be a banker, to be in that industry. He shared that story. I'm not gonna be a spoiler. If you want to listen to Pere's story of how this guy from a very young age knew exactly what he was gonna be and why, please go listen to episode 009. I appreciate his not only his contribution to this, but sharing his experience as somebody who was born in Nigeria and with a diplomat as a dad, zigzagged West Africa because he was in Gambia and then Senegal before he came to the US. After his education in the US, he went back home and actually worked in Nigeria before he advanced his education in the UK, and in the UK where he's based now, being a high roller. Actually, he just visited the US not long ago. You have to listen to Pere. He had so much to give. Right after that, from Burkina, episode 010, we had Huguette. Oh my God, that episode. You get somebody who is in the accounting world. As a professional, she's an accountant. But you get shared her story in how she ended up writing a book. Starting with a book for kids, a topic that I'm not going to spoil. You have to jump on episode 10 to see what kind of book she wrote. A book that is of the times, a book that is so important for anybody who has family and anybody who doesn't even have kids yet to go and read or give as a gift. Huguette was so interested in how she ended up writing a book while still being an accountant, having a high-paying job, but knowing exactly what she was interested in and making sure her dream doesn't just die. Oh, it was so wonderful to talk to Huguette, and she knows I appreciate her. I can't wait to have you here again, sis. Right after Huguette, we had episode 12. Oh my God. Episode 012 was with Hannah. Hannah from the Gambia. The fiery, spicy Hannah. Hannah was somebody that joined me, and from the onset, again, she was the second person that I spoke to on this platform that I didn't meet before hello right here on the platform. As soon as we said hello, and if you watch that episode 012, you will see I started it with laughter because she was just so warm, so welcoming, so willing to share, and she dropped so many nuggets about, she's in the DBA business. She's a big time data analyst. I can't even talk about who she works for and what she does, right? But she is killing it right here in the US. Somebody who came here early, right? But still connected to where she's from. Matter of fact, as a thesis to her to her master's, she decided to give back to her country, where she hit a wall. She had challenges that she shared right here, and she was not holding back. She was shooting straight. You have to listen to that episode if you missed it with Hannah Fight, episode 012. STR013, this was with my brother Masashi from Zimbabwe. Here's why I had to talk to my brother. Apart from the fact that he's a neighbor of mine, he is somebody that, my conversation with him super timely because it happened after my visit to Zimbabwe. So I wanted to pick his brains on all the things that I've observed about a country that I grew to love so much because I visited it. And maybe my love for Zimbabwe is not by choice. Maybe. My wife is from there, for those that know. And my mother-in-law, fiery. This is a woman of ambition. This is a woman who is just, she's so inspirational. So everything that she's doing over there in Zimbabwe, not only did I know about, but going to see it in person and coming back. Everything that I observed, I thought somebody who knows Zimbabwe very, very well will be able to give me all these nuggets, answer all these questions that I have. And he didn't disappoint at all. Thank you, Masashi, for being part of the conversation and bringing up all these things that I wanted to know and helping me understand because, it's a country that I can avoid. My kids are half Zimbabwean. Thank you, brother. Right after that episode 014. Oh my God. Yabom Millicent from Sierra Leone. She was the third person or the first person that I got as a guest coming from a fan of StemtoRoots. Get that? Somebody that never missed an episode. My big sister Bernadette, shout out to you. She actually told me that I have somebody you have to speak to. I sent her a message. She was kind with her time. She said yes, and she joined me. And if you've not listened to episode 1014, you have to go and listen. Yabom is from Sierra Leone, and she came here by way of, let me not even spoil that. You have to listen to that. Somebody who was in the middle of that Sierra Leone war. Okay, she experienced the entire war. She survived it and ended up here in the US and wrote a book about it. You have to listen to her story. Oh my God, I can't wait to have her again so that we'll talk more about the book. But her story leading to the book, some of that we touched on in episode 014. You cannot miss that. Sis, I gained a sister after I spoke to you. We still check on each other. I can't wait to speak to you again. And thank you for your time. Right after that, I had Shareef from Nigeria, episode 015. Man, this brother, I owe a debt of gratitude to because he changed how I think about finances. I met this man in 2013, 14, around there? No, 14. When I met this guy from hello, he recognized that I'm African. He started talking to me, and the conversation didn't take long for him to take me straight to what his expertise is, how he thinks about finances and business, how Africans come here and we limit ourselves. Man, the man was so generous with his time. When I started this platform, I thought what I gained from listening to him, everybody else should gain, and he did not disappoint. If you've not listened to episode 015, you have to listen to Shareef. He touched on all kind of business. He touched on his experience, running businesses. He touched on his experience, being from Nigeria and trying to connect with back home. All the things he experimented with, all the experiences he is so proud, or he has no fear when it comes to talking about failure. And that's what I found very, very interesting in how he conveys his message. You have to listen to him. The guy has so much to share, and you will find that in that episode 015. Right after him, I had my boy Rolan from Congo. My first Africa-based guest. All right. All the other guests have been guests that have left the continent. They're still outside the continent. They're in the US, in the UK, away from home. Rolan is actually the very first person that I spoke to that studied here in the US up to master's level and then went back home to Congo, based there, has his family there, works there, and is so content and so happy with working from Africa, in Africa, that I had to have him here. He had so much to share, and anybody who has not listened to episode 016, you have to listen to STR 016, because Rolan's perspective, somebody that I knew who was business minded since here, this guy opened a kiosk at some fancy mall in Brookline, Mass. Was that Brookline? One of those fancy places in Boston. He went to this very, very fancy, prestigious mall and opened a kiosk where he was selling African art. So he started very, very early. He is proud of his continent, and he tried his business, and every little failure that he had, he learned so much from, and now he's doing big things in Congo, and he shared his stories, and he shared his dream. He shared nuggets that everybody that is a fan of this or just wants to gain, go listen to that episode 016. Thank you, my bro. I can't wait to have you again, because we have another conversation planned. It's a surprise, but hey, guys, you should know Rolan is coming back for a very massive episode that we're about to record. Right after his episode 017, this was with DJ Nana, Nana from Ghana. Oh my God, what an episode. Nana is somebody that I always knew I wanted to talk to. Nana, actually, he was the best man, not the best man. Oh, sorry, Babs. He was Nana was a co-MC at my wedding. Somebody that I've always known, always just wide smile, contagious laughter. A dude so cool, I thought I had to have him here. Because one thing you know about Nana as soon as you meet him is how proud he is to be Ghanaian, how proud he is to be African. Somebody that loves Africa so much, he had strategy in how to have a job multiple jobs that will pay him to actually go back home. He shared that story. He is somebody that ever since I met him, I knew he went to Africa a lot for work. I'm like, damn, what kind of job is that? I would love to go back home that often on the dime of somebody else who's paying me. But he was so kind. He was so nice. He shared that story so that we'll just know his story. And there's a lot to gain there, whether it's for you or somebody you know or somebody that, maybe your kid. Right? Nana was so kind to share his business, what he's trying to do back home, including even dropping a business idea that he said he wanted 10% for anybody who adopts it. Thank you, bro, for coming. Thank you for saying yes when I asked, and I can't wait to have you again. Right after Nana, I had my sister Yassine from Burkina. Oh, what an episode. Yassine, my second African StemtoRoots ambassador, because she's based in Burkina, guys. She's based in Burkina, has a job that is headquartered in Rome, Italy. And while she works from Italy, from Burkina, she visits Rome often. She visits the world often. She goes all around Africa. What she does is so interesting. Somebody who is in the accounting world as far as her knowledge and educational background, but shifting that to do something else where she's not crunching numbers, but touching lives. Oh my God, you have to listen to Yas's episode. And not only that, all the other things she's doing in Africa, seeing, all the opportunities that are in the continent that she's seeing firsthand and taking advantage of. She was so generous with sharing this information that if you've missed that episode 018, you have to listen to Yas. Yas, I appreciate you. I can't wait for the next conversation we're about to have. Episode 019. Pere is somebody that I met in Boston. Pere is from Slovakia, by way of Hungary. The reason why I had Pere here as that very first non-African, and by not African I mean by she was not born there, she's not African just in that aspect, right? But somebody that has so much love for the continent. Ever since that I met her, part of her dream was to do that kind of job that she ended up doing. She manifested into her life, has been a professional in Africa longer than anywhere else, during her lifetime. Still based in Africa, working off of all the Central Republic area, but CAR as a country she's based in. She goes between the UK and Africa all the time. The reason why I wanted to talk to her is actually to break down something about, something known that Africa is known for, like humanitarian aid, which also has a wrinkle because of how it's presented when it comes to the continent. I wanted her to come down and break down some of these things that we think we know. And I was surprised. At the same time, I appreciated the fact that she came, because I also suspected that there's a lot there that we don't know. If you've not listened to that episode with Pere, I encourage you to listen to it, because I learned so much about that world of humanitarians, that world of kind of, she's in the peace brokering business. And that twist to what she does was a big surprise for me. You have to listen, and this is a woman that loves Africa so much. You can hear it in her voice. Pere, thank you for saying yes. I know you were slightly nervous about having the conversation, but you said yes, and I appreciate that so much. Episode 20 with my boy OZ. Osman was somebody that I always wanted to have. I've known Oz for more than a decade now. Somebody that when I started this platform, he knew already. I was talking to him about the fact that we had to sit down because of so many things that he is doing and dreaming of, for Africa. This is a guy who was born in the UK by Gambian parents, but connected straight back as a kid, and he shared what age that he went back to Gambia, and ever since he's been connected to the continent. Matter of fact, for what he does now, the guy is in the Congos all the time. The guy is zigzagging Africa. He's in Senegal all the time. He's in Gambia all the time, having plans that are so major. You have to listen to this episode and see exactly what he's doing. We shared, his business. We shared, what they're trying to do for Africa, for housing, for sustainable housing. You have to listen to Oz's episode. Is the last one that I dropped before actually this one. And all these guests, and he knows, he's a brother, he knows how much I appreciate him. All these guests I appreciate so much, because every single one of them, evidently, they came and actually shared with me, in not only their time, but their experience, and also their wealth of knowledge as far as like just what their journey has been. I have no doubt that this has benefited a lot of people, and because it's the kind of thing that will be there for a long time, will benefit many, many more. I appreciate all 19 of you. I love you guys. Thank you for being there for me. And if you thought I will forget, last but not least, my partner, my boss lady, I call her. The woman that makes all of this possible. Every hour that I sit down to talk to every single one of my guests, she's the one that held the fort down, right? I have two ninjas, I have two sons from this wonderful woman of mine, my lady, my wife, my rock, royalty herself. She's the one that actually keeps these kids away from this microphone whilst I record. Because my kids are young, and if Dada is out there recording, they want to be there. She's the one that always plans. Every time I tell her the schedule, she will plan something, whether to have them away, whether it's to keep them away from me. She's the one that has made all of this possible. Thank you very much, babe. I am so grateful for having you as my team member, my boss lady, the woman that is behind everything that I do. I appreciate your support. I tell you this all the time, but I will say it for the world to know that I appreciate you, and without you, STEM to Roots will just be a dream. Thank you all. That's what this episode is about. I want to be grateful. I want to say thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for showing me that you're listening. Thank you for your engagement. I can't wait to have more guests as I build my confidence in having these guests come in by way of subscription, where the business, where that's the receipt that you show somebody for them to feel like it's worth their time. Unfortunately, this is why I'm so grateful for all these people that decided to sit here and speak to me when I had nothing to offer but just, this face. So please subscribe, share, because that's the business we're in. This is what brings in more people. And so if I have you guys give me that little contribution that doesn't cost you all that much, I'll be able to bring in more content from people that I have on my list but have not gained the confidence yet to say, hey, please come on. Thank you very much for being there for me, and I can't wait to also deliver.